The Basics of Critical Theory. Welcome back. I am Dr. Fatima Farzana from Sri SRNM College, Saussure. Here to give you an outline of all the critical theories. We are going to begin with structuralism. Now this is really important because all the other theories are offshoots of structuralism. So if you understand this, then you understand everything. Now you can read all the history of structuralism on the internet. I am sure you can find a lot. But we have only 3 texts that gave rise to this moment. Claude Levi-Strauss, Structural Anthropology, Roland Barthes, Mythologies, and Ferdinand de Saussure's course in General Linguistics. Looking at the titles of these 3 books, what do you think? Structural Anthropology. Well, that is on the study of human culture. Course in General Linguistics. Okay, it's going to be about linguistics, grammar, the structure of language, and mythologies. What is this? Greek, Roman, Scandinavian, Indian? What type of mythologies are we talking about here? So you must have got some basic idea from the titles. The main thing is that these 3 texts come up with certain structures that are common to all literature, common to all subjects, even medicine, economics, whatever you think of it. The main idea imparted in these 3 texts is that no text is alone. You cannot find meaning by reading a text alone. Now this is in direct conflict with Richards. Texts must be studied in the context they are structures of. But understand another thing here. Richards said that you have to look at the text in an objective approach. Look at it alone. Here, when text cannot stand alone, you have to look into the things that make up the text, not the things that surround the text. So what are the festivals, rituals, totems, symbols mentioned in the text? They are the structures of the text. Ferdinand de Saussure and his theories. Saussure believed that there is no connection between words and meanings. If you look at chair, bench, desk, all these words, they are not similar. They cannot be said as synonyms. Each has a different structure. Each has a different appearance in our mind. Meanings are relational. You can live in a hut, a shelter, cottage, an apartment, or even in your car, and you can call it your home. You can even live under a tree and say it is your home. It is your home because you believe it is your home. It is your relational meaning. These relational meanings make up our world, and they are a part of our culture. And if you read culture like a language, you can find out the structures that are there in the literature based on that culture. Saussure gives a very prominent example by looking at a train. The Geneva Express is a train that departs exactly at 8:25. Then where is the train at 7:25 or any time between 7:25 and 9:25? Forget the Geneva Express. Look at any flight or any train schedule. Take any train for that instance. You have a particular arrival and departure time. Where does the train go before the departure and after the arrival time? It's not there. That is what Saussure is talking about. The 3 types of signs according to Saussure. If you take linguistic signs, they appear either diachronically or synchronically. They appear over a period of time in history over different centuries or at a particular time. I can give one example from Shakespeare. Shakespeare uses the word stomach in many of his historical plays. When Henry Bolingbroke is said of being as high-stomached, it means that he is prone to anger very quickly. That was the meaning of the word stomach in the 17th century. If you look it up today, it is related to digestion. So the meaning has changed over a period of time. Hence, this word is diachronic. If you look at stomach at a particular point of time, then that is synchronic. Number 2. Language science. The language or the rules that make up a language, and parole, individual utterances that are peculiar to a person. You must have noticed that each and every person speaks the same language, but there are some speech patterns that are peculiar to a person. You can identify the person from their pattern. That is parole. Number 3. Signifier and signified. These two elements are repeated in structuralism, post-structuralism, deconstruction, and they appear in almost every theory under different names. It is very easy. Signifier simply refers to a sound, an image, or a text. And signified may be the idea, concept, or meaning behind the sound, image, or a text. And this too depends upon the person. For example, just close your eyes. I'm going to say a word and you're going to imagine it. The first word is tree. If you are from India, you may think of a neem tree or a mango tree or a palm tree, whatever is common in your area. If you are from some other continent, you may think of a pine tree, an oak, fir, anything else. This is based on your geographical experience, on your culture. Now, I'm going to say another word. Car. You may think of the cars that are available in your area. You may think of a red car if you like the color red. You may think of black when you like the color black. Once again, it is personal. Structuralism is propounded in different texts. Roland Barthes is the most common writer of structuralist texts. He appears in post-structuralism also. But if you really want to understand the theories, you can start by reading The Pleasures of the Text or The Death of the Author. Before reading this, you can just check out The Anatomy of Criticism by Northrop Frye. Then you can go to The Death of the Author and continue with The Pleasures of the Text. After you get the idea of critical theory and structuralism and what it is all about, then you can start reading Writing Degree 0. Because this complements the literary texts written by Flaubert and Malan. Now, Roland Barthes lived in France and he criticizes many of the French writers and French texts. So it may be a little bit difficult because he uses a little bit of French terms here and there. But just leave out the terms and just look at the text. Now, S/Z, the savage mind or the structural anthropology can be a bit intimidating at first. But if you really like to read about culture, then you can read Anthropology. S/Z is all about Honoré de Balzac's Racine. It's a novella that is divided into 561 units. So you can just read a summary of it, I believe. And going back to The Savage Mind by Levi-Strauss, he comments upon two types of creators, the bricolier and the engineer. Bricolier is artistic, creative, imaginative, fantastical. Engineer is scientific, analytical. Now I believe all of us are bricoliers and engineers in one sense, referring to the left and right brains, of course. Thank you for watching video 2. If you really like, all this, you can subscribe to my videos. If you have any topics on which you want to make videos, you can give the topics to me in the comments box. If you have suggestions, you are welcome.